Hi, I'm Bill Carmody, and I'm the Marketing Whisperer. And today on the show, we have Dana Crosby, who is the principal of SC Capital Advisors and the president of the Indian Wells, California Rotary Club. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you.
So, Dana, the interesting thing about the Rotary Club is it's been around for a very, very long time. And as you sort of took on the presidency, you sort of said, okay, you know what? Maybe it's time for a refresh. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean being the president of a club is, it has some unique challenges. I think every Rotary Club, every service club in the country has some issues in aging membership, involving younger professional members, and so one of the challenges is you want to keep the current members happy, but you want to look out for the future of the club too, and try to drive growth and quality members and keep up the mission of the club.
So how do you know when either a company, a brand, or in this case, an association is in need of a refresh? What are the signals?
Part of it is a good part of it is that a lot of clubs are experiencing shrinking membership, and those that maybe their membership isn't shrinking, they're experiencing turnover among membership. So classically with a service organization, they're experiencing an aging membership, and then of course the members die off, and the challenge is to bring in newer, younger members who are dedicated, to the service of the club. But that's really kind of the symptoms that have been going on, is a lot of people are experiencing turnover among their membership and declining membership.
Sure. So, I mean, I think we've seen that a lot in associations overall. And I think one of the questions then becomes, what do you do about it? Like, what do you sort of see these trends and you're like, okay, this is disconcerting and we need to sort of inject some new fresh blood into the mix for sure. But what else? What else can you do to sort of stem the losses and turn things around and refresh the brand?
Well, to Rotary's credit, they have, before you become a president of a club, you have to go to what's called PETS training, president-elect training. And you go there and you meet a lot of other members who are really dedicated Rotarians and who've been doing it for a long time. But it's a way to get ideas from other people and exchange ideas and ask questions, and you can really get a lot out of that. And my experience at president-elect training was very good, and then I came away with a lot of ideas that could bring in some younger business professionals into our club, and who could really grow our club going forward.
Okay. So you get some new thinking in there and you start thinking about sort of ways in which you can entice new members to sort of jump in. I understand that you're putting on some sort of a benefit coming up and that this sort of was more of a way to inject attract some younger members into the organization through a rock concert. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. My predecessor, the president, did a really good job in growing our membership, and he's dedicated to our club and staying involved. But we did get some younger members last year, and I brought one of those people to a district event earlier this spring. And we live in a pretty wealthy valley here. There's a lot of people with second and third homes, and consequently, there's a lot of charities and a lot of galas, and that's been kind of our big fundraiser for the year is a gala, but they're a lot of work. They're a burden on a few of the members who put it on, and things like that. And so I asked this one guy who's about my age, I asked him, I'd like to do something a little bit different that would involve the public where we can just sell tickets. And it just so happened that he had a famous cousin who
that helps.
Started a rock band in the 70s. And he's willing to do a benefit concert for us. And some of the other younger members are volunteering on our concert committee and are just really excited about it. And we're moving forward, and it's on the schedule, and we're having it at a great venue at a casino. And it's just really an exciting thing. And it's like we've kind of started this concert promotion business here, but the financial benefit will be all to our foundation, which will in turn benefit student scholarships or students and the universities that we support. So
That's really great. Well, I
Yeah.
think, I think one of the things that's challenging is that when you have an established presence, you have something that's been around for decades, you sort of have this sort of expectation of how it's supposed to be. And then when you start to see the declines, you need to make some changes. And so it's really trying to understand the things that make the Rotary clubs great, right? And it's holding on to those pieces while sort of identifying, hey, see, some of these things may not serve us anymore. And I noticed one of the things you said about that was, for example, like the auctions, coming in. That has historically been a great way for the Rotary Club to raise money, but it's also not necessarily going to attract the younger members. So
Mhm.
you identified that as one of the examples. Are there other ones like that you said, this may have worked really well for the last couple of decades, but now sort of looking at this going forward, it may not be the most effective way to either increase membership or to sort of raise funds?
Yeah, and one other example is that we're a noon lunch club on Mondays, the first business day of the week, and it's really difficult, for busy younger professionals who are working to take what will wind up being possibly a 2-hour hole in the middle of the day on a Monday. And so what I have initiated here is that as an as an experiment to start is that the last Monday of every month we are going to slip our time to 4:30 in the afternoon, and we're going to have a mixer at a restaurant, and we're going to use social media to get the word out and try to get some other business professionals to come to our mixer once a month. And if it really catches on, and we've done it once already, and it was very successful. We had a good deal of our members show up, but we had the most guests that we've ever had, so it was very well received.
That's
And
great.
so far so good. And it looks like we're getting 2 new members out of this first mixer. And both of them are people who are, professionals and working right now. So
If you're going to give one piece of advice for other entrepreneurs about reinventing themselves, what would you give them? What would you tell them?
I would say that, you really want to get feedback from other people, get advice from other people. But, you're never going to know if something is going to work until you try. So try it, don't be afraid to try. In the case with the Rotary, you're dealing with a lot of, people who've been around a long time or are happy with the status quo. And what I did is, I had an idea, and before I became president, I would sit down with these people and talk to them about my idea and get their feedback on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that in that way, you're kind of involving them, and and I actually got some confirmation in advance that this would be worth trying, and then we did it. So because when you're dealing with the Rotary, you're dealing with a lot of different personalities and egos and traditions, and so you want to be aware of that. But you ultimately, now you're running the show, so don't be afraid to try something.
Well, and I think the other part is volunteers. There's a different dynamic when you're working with paid staff versus volunteers, and a lot of associations depend on their volunteers to be successful. So that's another aspect of it. How are you motivating those folks that are volunteering for the organization who have a very vested interest in making sure it's successful, but again, are not the same as a paid staff member?
Yeah, and it's really, as the leader of an organization that's volunteer, you have to handle people with kid gloves. You have to try to involve them. But when it comes to a case like this, this concert, I'm not having any problem getting volunteers for this, particularly some of our new younger members. And in the case with Mary, she's, this. She has a lot of great marketing ideas, and this is right up her alley. She's been successful at it before, and she is so enthusiastic to come in and prove herself. And so she's in charge of our corporate memberships, and I have all the confidence in the world that she's going to be successful with it. So, and so when you bring in a new idea that's interesting, in a lot of cases it's self-motivating.
So what would you then say to your peers who are other presidents of Rotary clubs throughout the US? Are there particular sort of takeaways, insights, things you can share with them relative to sort of what you've learned through your journey here at this organization?
Um, well, and actually, I'm really kind of getting started with it. I've just I'm completing my first month as the president, and
But you've
but again,
been
I
with
think
the
it's
Rotary Club itself for like 4 or 5 years, right?
yeah. I've been in the Rotary Club for 4 or 5 years, and the truth was, I was the first time I was asked to be president, I turned it down because of the fact that we're a Monday lunch club and it was going to take too much of my time away.
Mm-hmm.
But then another guy who was my age and in my same field of work, he took the presidency, and he was the one that convinced me that I should be president because, he said, we can make this our club. We can shape this any way that we want to, and so he was the one who convinced me to become the president. And so I guess it's really up to the current leadership of the club to shape a club in the way they want it to be, and to interject energy into your meetings and do some different things and make it exciting and make it fun, and get interesting speakers, because we do have a speaker series, and you want to make it an entertaining hour and a half for your regular meetings. And then when it comes to your fundraising projects, think outside the box. Try something different.
It's excellent. Good advice. Dana Crosby, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your insights. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Take care.